Hello students, this is the fourth video of second module. So in this module, I'm going to explain you about the vectored interrupts. So a device requesting an interrupt may identify itself by sending a special code directly to the processor so that the processor considers it immediately. So here in vector interrupt, what happens is whichever devices which are connected over the bus and whichever wants to request for the processor to provide the service, then it will be sending a special code to the processor itself so that it will be getting serviced immediately. A device requesting an interrupt can identify by itself by sending a special code to the processor over the bus. That is, bus is used in order to make the communication between the processor and the device which wants to request for the processor to provide the service. So the code supplied by the device may represent the starting address of the interrupt service routing for that service for that device. So here what will be that special code means it will be the starting address of the interrupt service routine for that device, and by looking at that starting address, processor will come to know which device has actually requested for the service. The address where the interrupt service routine is stored is called the interrupt vector and loads it into the PC. So where the address will be of the interrupt service routine will be stored, that particular address is named as the interrupt vector and loads it into the PC. So next, moving to the interrupt nesting. Interrupt should be disabled during the execution of an interrupt service routine to ensure that a request from one device will not cause more than one interruption. So what happens here is if a device requests for the processor service, then what happens to that device means immediately once it sends the interrupt request line will be enabled, then once the service will be provided by the processor, immediately that the interrupt service line should be disabled so that it will not cause more than one interruption for the same device. So in order to avoid that, what should be done is we have to disable the interrupt request line. The same arrangement is often used when several devices are involved, in which case execution of a given interrupt service routine once started always continues to completion before the processor accepts an interrupt request from a second device. So whenever once one device will request for the service from the processor, immediately it will be served, and also its service interrupt service line will be disabled, and again it once the service for that particular device is completed, our processor it will be waiting for the next device to enable that interrupt request line. In that way, different devices will be provided with the service. Interrupt service routines are typically short, and the delay they may cause is acceptable for more simple devices. For some devices, however, a long delay in responding to an interrupt request may lead to erroneous operation. So if there is a long period of delay, then what happens is the devices will keep on waiting. So this may cause some erroneous operations to occur. So here the processor, once it requests the interrupt request line, then it has to wait for certain time limit only, and then if that device will not respond to its service, then immediately once again it has to enable the request line. So this is how it will be carried. So IO devices should be organized in a priority structure. An interrupt request from a high priority device should be accepted while the processor is serving another request from a lower priority device. So here we are aware of the priorities. So each and every IO device whichever will be connected over the bus to the processor will be set up with one priority. So here the priority structure, how it will be means one device, if it is having higher priority, then the other device which is getting serviced from the processor will be having the lower priority. Then if the higher priority device will request for the processor to provide the service, then immediately the processor has to stop providing service to the lower priority device and it has to start providing service to the high priority device. So this is what is about interrupt nesting. A multi-level priority organization means that during execution of an interrupt service routine, interrupt request will be accepted from some devices but not from other, depending upon the device priority. So here device priority also will come into existence. So what happens here is, if the higher priority device will always be requesting for the processor, then what happens to the lower priority device means it will never be getting serviced by the processor. A multiple priority schemes can be implemented easily by using separate interrupt request and interrupt acknowledgement lines for each device. So we have a diagram which depicts how actually the service will be provided by the processor to the devices which are connected over the bus. Each of the interrupt request lines is assigned a different priority level. Interrupt requests received over these lines are sent to a priority arbitration circuit in the processor. A request is accepted only if it has a higher priority than that currently assigned to the processor. So here this is the diagram we can see here. So this is the priority arbitration circuit and all the devices are connected over the bus to the processor, and if the device wants to ask for the request for the service to the processor, means it has to set up this INTR request line. So whichever device will be setting it up, so immediately it will be sent to the priority arbitration circuit, and among the devices which is requesting the processor for the service, whichever is having higher priority, so that device will be given the service by the processor. So this is how it works.